Welcome back. Today we'll be discussing about R. We'll continue our journey through Model 3 exercises. Now we have already loaded the data into a data frame. It is time to do some exploratory data analysis. For this, we'll be using different functions such as structure, dim, etc. so that we can know more about the structure of data. Let's see if we have a data in our system. Yes, we have the data. Going through this, let's try to do some use calculation here. Let's try to go through the data and see what do we have here in our memory. This is the data set, and this is the data we are working with. We want to do is we want to calculate the mean of this data using a mean function for, let's say, year x75, and we will do not available remark, remove the remove the rows which has not empty values, so we don't include that in our calculation, and so it doesn't skew our calculation. Let's see what we get here. 92. Now what happens if we put false? Let's see. Because some of the values have no NA, is giving me NA as a result, and because all values rows do not have the values, and that's why it is giving me null, and we cannot compute the we cannot compute the mean of the null, so that's why it's giving me NA, because it cannot compute. Let's put it back to true. For question number 6, let's calculate the mean for 1960. We will just copy and paste the command from above, and we will change this to 1960. And result we get is 101.33. This is a sample mean. How about using other functions beside mean? Yes, we can use other functions. Let's use standard deviation. For example, standard deviation would give me the standard deviation of the column 1960 from the mean. How far is this mean deviate from the values are deviate from the mean? And it goes up to 54 from the mean value. So I will put the 54 here in the standard deviation. Moving on to question number 7. Let's calculate the fertile rate mean for year 2000, and for that we'll use the same command as we did before. We will type 2000 here, and let's see what we get. We get 163.1553. And how about standard deviation? Let's see what we get for that one too. It is 46.92. From this, what we can say is that the value in compared to 1960 in 2000, the teenager fertility rate has decreased and standard deviation has also decreased. Now we are interested in plotting the fertility rate from 1960 to 2015. To do that, we have to prep the data so that it is ready to be plotted in a graph. One way to do that is to use a function called filter that allows you to manipulate data by selecting a row based upon a condition. So for question number 9, we'll use Doppler filter function and we'll add a condition called in, where in will be condition for low income, middle income, high income, and world. Let me type the function as it became clear what we are talking about. This is world, this is high income, this is middle income, and this is low income. Therefore, this is a summarized or aggregated value for this country of these income levels, and it is reusing the same column name. So it's kind of confusing, but anyhow, let's move on. Now we have showed a value, showed result in this variable. Let's inspect it. What does it have? Now we get 4 rows: high income, low income, middle income, and world. And it gives a summarized value for each of the year from 1960 onwards. Now this is still not ready to be plotted. We still need to do some manipulation on this data so that it is ready for plotting. What we want to do is we want to rearrange the data based upon income level and a country code only, such that for those each of the combination year and income level, so that each of the combination will have one specific measure, and we can plot that measure into a graph. How do you do this? We can do that by typing gather. We'll gather, that means we will bring down all the columns as a rows by income level. This is our data set, and first step is to define the key, and key will be the column name that we want to have in our future state, and fertility rate is the second value for each of those year will be year will be year, and the fertility rate will be the measure. A year is a column, year is a key, and fertility will be a measure. So fertility rate, fertility fertility rate. Fertility rate will be the measure for each of this year. We are bringing column names, putting them under year, and for each of the columns, whatever the measure values are there, it is going under fertility rate. And the columns we are interested in are X1960 through X 2015. Let's run this. There you go. We have a year, and we have a fertility rate, and it is for each of the country codes. This is good. This is good. We are making good progress here. Second step is to use this result and do some manipulation on top of that. Now we will select the few columns we are interested in, which are year, country name, country code, and fertility rate. It is saying country name and country do not exist. Why is that? Surprise here. You should not have said that. Maybe I made a mistake here. Let's type it like this and let's see what happens. Let's see if we can do like this. You can run this and hopefully it'll work. Yeah, now it is working. We should have run this command, and once we run this command, now it's working fine. We have selected the columns we are interested in. Next step is to store this data frame into a variable called plot data by group year. Now we have the data into this variable. We'll just inspect it and see what's inside. Yes, we have what we wanted. Moving on to question number 12. Question number 11, which is our last question. Now, now we know the data has only been stored in this variable. We changed our mind and thought that why don't we just do by year instead of year and country code? Can we change this into different data structure? Yes, we can. How do you do this? Let me show you. First of all, we'll take the data frame that we created in the last step. Then we will select from the data frame and then we'll select the columns we are interested in, that is country code, year, and fertility rate. Now next step is to use that information to do further processing, that is do spread. And spread what? Spread is country code and fertility rate. Will spread across the columns. Fertility are the values that will be the come under the column, and country code will be our column names. Year will remain same. Year will be in our as a group by, and country code will be our column name, and fertility will be the measure values for each of those column names. Let's see. Let's run this and see what we get. Now we have year, and for each year we have 4 values for each of the country code, and fertility are measured for those columns. We want to store that into a different variable, and let's say plot data by year. Let's run this. Let's inspect the variable or data frame we created. There you go. We have what we needed. This is all for today. Let's summarize what we discussed. We discussed about using statistical function in base R in tidy R, such as mean, standard deviation. We also talk about using filter function to select rows and using functions such as gather to pivot the rows into column names into as rows, and do just opposite, that would use the rows and put that into column wise. That's all for today. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.